I love baking cookies, sweet as it can be. This chaotic country Christmas feels like home to me.
And I totally deleted my intro, so here we go. Today we're going to be making this super easy, super delicious Christmas crack recipe. It is one that Lily counts down the days to make. We also make it a couple of times throughout the year, but we're going to share exactly how to make this super delicious treat. Let's go. I am doing this voiceover while John is in the basement working, so if you hear all that, I apologize. But you're going to start by getting the oven preheated to 400 degrees, and then into a pan you're going to do 2 sticks of butter and just bring them, melt them down, and we're going to get ready to bring them to a boil. You're going to work with the stove on like medium heat because you don't want it to get away from you. So while our butter is melting down, we're going to go ahead and get a cookie sheet lined with parchment paper. It is definitely a must to have parchment paper on this step. And then you're just going to line that parchment paper with saltine crackers. You're going to try to get them nice and, layered out. But when you put them into the oven, they're going to shift and you'll have to rearrange them. But still attempt to get them as close to perfect as possible. I fill mine in, and then I will go through and cut up a few crackers and cut them in half and fill in the spots that need them. Then once we have our butter coming to a low boil, we're going to go ahead and get 1 cup of packed brown sugar and add it into the butter mixture. Then we're going to bring this to a nice soft boil, and you're going to get it nice and boiling, and then we will pour it over top of the crackers. So I usually cook mine until it gets to this like soft, fluffy caramel type texture, and then this is when I know that it is good enough, and I'll go ahead and pour it on top of the crackers. You want to try to get it nice and even on there, so just pour it on as good as you can, and then you'll want to go in with a silicone spatula and layer it a little bit better. and then you pop it in the oven for 5 minutes at 400. You're gonna pull it out and it will look like this. Like you can see, the crackers kind of, they done their own thing. And you can leave them like this, it's not a big deal, but I can't handle leaving them like this. So I will take the spatula and lay them out a little bit better, just as good as I can, without really trying to move them much. So I just shift them a tiny bit, and then we'll call it good enough. It gets covered up with chocolate anyway, so it's not that big of a deal, but I like them to be a little bit more put together, so to speak. I don't know why my chocolate chips are being weird. They're not melting completely. I even stuck them in the oven and shut it. It didn't work, so I turned it on the low broil. It still didn't work. They're still not completely melting. I don't know if it's not the best batch of chocolate. I'm not sure, but nonetheless, they're not going to be as pretty as they should be, I guess, but that's okay. Now you would add nuts if you wanted nuts on top of it. Lily's not the biggest fan of nuts. So I'm just going to get this smoothed out here. Halfway decently. Looks like a cobblestone road or something. That's what it reminds me of. Not beautiful, that's for sure. So what do we do when things are not coming out how we want them to? We add sprinkles. So we don't exactly have Christmas sprinkles, but we do, but not any that I would want to put on this. They're all the big harder ones. So, found these gold ones. I figure they would work just fine. So we're just going to take some of them and sprinkle them here on top to try to hide some of this ridginess that we got going on. I'm not sure what happened with the chocolate chips. I think they just, something was up with them. They taste fine because I already ate one, but they just didn't want to melt for some reason. The sprinkles help. I would rather them kind of sprinkle. Let's see if I can find me some Christmas ones like that. I'm going to go in and just sprinkle just a tiny bit of salt on this because this is a super sweet treat. So a little bit of salt, I think, just always brings it up a little bit. Personally, I don't want to overdo it. Just a little bit of this English toffee finishing sugar. Just a little bit. This will help hide the texture issues too. And then now it is all nice and set up. I'm just gonna cut it into little pieces You don't want overly big, but this is not as sweet as fudge, so we went a little bit bigger than a fudge. I used my knife as like a measuring, a makeshift measurer. It's fine. It worked it worked okay. Okay, it's fine. So we're gonna get this cut into pieces, and then this is a dessert that will stay nice and dry. You know, obviously if it gets hot, the chocolate would melt or whatever, but this will be one that is good to just store in a container, and you can store it cutely or give it as a gift and whatnot. Again, sorry for the noise, but this is definitely a family favorite, and I'm actually going to be throwing together some of this again, and maybe give some to a friend and share with her. But this is definitely a favorite, and it's super delicious. It's salty, sweet, chocolatey, caramel. You can't lose. So thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. As always, remember to show grace, be content, and live blessed. Bye, friends. Oh, and the actual recipe, it will be linked down below as well.